Barcelona then 6-1 winners over Olympiacos. Marcus Rashford with a brace, Fermin Lopez with the hat-trick. Robbo, pretty perfect warm-up for El Clasico for Barcelona?
Yeah, it wasn't for the first 50, 60 minutes because they didn't play particularly well in the first half, although they were 2-0 up. They were pressed quite hard by Olympiacos, who pressed high up the field, and they gave the ball away cheaply on occasions. They couldn't get their continuity going. There was individuals that were having, a poor game for them. But the sending off changed everything. As soon as they went down to 10 men, then they could open up. They brought De Jong on as well, which I think was a much better decision than when they were playing with a young player, Fernandez, who was on the pitch at the time. He gives them more control, he gives them more guile, along with Pedri. And from that moment on, they were always going to create chances. And they fully deserved it in the end. But that first 60 minutes, I thought was slightly worrying. And Olympiacos certainly made it difficult for them to play out from the back. They certainly made it difficult for them to pick their passes. And they were fortunate to go in at half-time 2-0 up.
Alex, another big day for Rashford.
Yeah, he's doing okay. He hasn't always looked like he fits into this Barcelona style, but when he's got opportunities so far this season, he scored goals. He's looked dangerous. He's given the team something different. It would be huge for him, of course, to start in the Clasico on Sunday. Let's see if that happens or not. The other big sort of good news from this performance is Fermin Lopez, who's a player who I think always looks like he poses a goal threat, always looks dangerous. He's been a big game player for Barca as well. We've seen him performing Clásicos in the past, and we had some questions about who's going to play at number 10 for Barcelona in the Clasico with some fitness issues, the likes of Dani Olmo. I think Fermin tonight made a pretty convincing case that it should be him.
Is that what you take away from this? Kind of Fermin's performance?
Well, it's hard to ignore a hat-trick, so I'm not going to. Yes, that's important from his perspective, and I think it defines his role going forward. And I find Fermin Lopez to be ahead of Dani Olmo in terms of who plays that position. If I were Hansi Flick, that would be my choice. But I go back to the 60 minutes that Robo was talking about. And let's not forget who the coach of Olympiacos is. It's also Luis Mendilibar, who's very familiar with Barcelona, was successful at Eibar with, and a guy who knows Barcelona very well. And he had Olympiacos, his team, away from home, going and pressing Barcelona because he has seen what has happened over the last, 3 weeks, 4 weeks with Barcelona, that if you press them and you force a turnover, that high line is vulnerable, you can get in behind, you can create problems. And Barcelona almost surprised that they were being pressed by Olympiacos, and that's why those 60 minutes became as uncomfortable as Robo was talking about. So you look at the final score, you go 6-1, Barcelona all over Olympiacos. Up until the red card, it was a completely different match, and they were hanging on. When Olympiacos scored 2-1, it felt more likely that Olympiacos was going to get a second one than Barcelona was going to get a third one. Red card then, as Robo pointed out, it changed everything. It is, in terms of momentum and in terms of positive energy and positive thinking, what you wanted ahead of El Clasico. But in terms of substantial quality of play, it's not quite there just yet for Barcelona.
To that point, you think Hansi Flick comes out of this 6-1 saying, oh, actually, I even have the issues I saw over the weekend. There's more ahead of El Clasico. It was 2-1 till the red card.
Hansi Flick knows this side can score goals. He knows it can rip teams open. Doesn't keep him awake at night. He's got players that can create in midfield. He's got players that can play in the wide position. He's got players that can play behind a Lewandowski or a striker. Olmo, Fermin Lopez, whoever it is. He is having palpitations about his back line. I think what we've seen in La Liga this season, particularly Girona at the weekend in the first 45, is a better reflection of this Barcelona and where they are than any 6-1 victory against a weaker side in the Champions League. Now, that being said, with the Clasico at the weekend, we all know, if you watch it, Real Madrid are no great shakes either and have their own issues. But the one thing that's keeping Hansi Flick up and getting him in a hot sweat of an evening is this back line. Because if they get it wrong at the weekend, like they have for the bulk of this season, they have, arguably, along with Julian Alvarez and Erling Haaland, Europe's hottest player at the moment is Kylian Mbappe. So, yes, great result for what it's worth. They'll qualify in this 36-team league. We know all that. We know they'll score goals. The issue come the weekend is the back line, the protection of the back line, and how high that line is. and how Real Madrid may or may not expose it. That's going to be the difference between who wins and loses at the weekend. Beating 10 men 6-1 is getting you 3 points, doing nothing else.
We do have some news, speaking of probably something we'll talk about on Football Americas. News about the Barcelona game against Villarreal. It was supposed to be played December 20th in Miami. Why am I saying supposed to be played? Well, because it's been canceled. Here's a statement from La Liga. La Liga announces that following conversations with the promoter of the official La Liga match in Miami, the decision has been made to cancel the organization of the event due to the uncertainty that has arisen in Spain over the past few weeks. The statement continued, the project fully complied with all federative regulations and did not affect the integrity of the competition as confirmed by the competent institutions responsible for ensuring compliance, which opposed it for other reasons.
UEFA reluctantly approved it, and the Spanish Football Federation didn't oppose it. But for example, the Spanish Sports Council, the sports ministry here in Spain, still hadn't come out publicly and spoken about this. We had heard some Spanish government ministers talking against it, but we hadn't actually had a verdict from the sports ministry. We don't know what that was going to be. If indeed we hear something in the next few days or so, we may find out more about that. But there was also the opposition from Real Madrid, potential legal challenges trying to block this. So I think all of that in the context of the fact that the tickets were literally about to go on sale. We had the pre-sale, which was delayed today before this announcement came. I think there was a real awareness that it would be a really bad look for tickets to be sold, for people to have paid money for tickets, and then there'd be some problem further down the road without absolute certainty that this could happen. And in the end, it's a big setback for the league to have to take a step back on this. It's not the first time. Of course, it's been a long-term ambition for the league to play a game in the States. It's been, 7 or 8 years now they've been trying to make this happen. This is the closest they've got this time, but in the end, they've had to put it on hold again.
What a mess.
Yeah, it seems to me that Tebas' position is very vulnerable here because this idea has been half-baked at best, ill thought out, and the only uncertainty was the certainty. It was absolutely certain that there was going to be opposition to this by fans, by clubs, some, by players. That was certain.
Are you surprised that opposition led to this change? I mean, we've seen players complain, stand up before. It doesn't.
As I said at the weekend, the 15-second delay of a game was weak. It wasn't exactly something that you would cancel.
Maybe it was. Maybe it was.
Well, you have to have more gumption about yourself. If you go all out here and announce this, then you got to make damn sure this is going to go ahead. Because the fact that you're having to backtrack on it makes yourself as a leader look weak, very, very weak. Now I know there was obstacles, but those obstacles should have been thought about, should have been discussed prior to this game being announced. So it makes Tebas look weak. It's embarrassing all round, and quite frankly, there was always going to be some uproar when you announce something that's out with the tradition.
Right.
And you're going to always face this kind of opposition. So you better make sure you have your ducks in a row when you make these announcements. And La Liga did not.
And if you're going to indeed have everything planned out correctly, one of the things that you have to have is the support of the players. Let's not forget, it's not Javier Tebas who puts on a jersey and shorts and shoes and goes and plays at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. In the end, nobody really cares about Javier Tebas. I'm talking about the fans that were supposed to go watch this game, Barcelona, Villarreal in Miami. They care about the players. The players are the stars. The players are the protagonists. It's a word that is well used in Spain. Protagonistas. Yeah, the players are the ones that the fans are coming to watch. So you have to have the support from the players. And in order to have the support from the players, they have to be involved in the conversation. You have to invite the players to the boardroom and have them be part of the decision-making process. And mind you, have them be part of taking a piece of the pie as well. See, there is a windfall for La Liga here. The players need to be part of that as well. And if you ignore the players and make a unilateral decision, what do you think is going to happen? The players are going to say, wait a minute. Where do you think you're going with this? As for not damaging or jeopardizing the integrity of the competition, nonsense. 100% nonsense. If you're Atletico Madrid, if you're Real Madrid, what is one of the games that you're thinking, man, Barcelona may drop some points? Away at Villarreal. Away at Villarreal. If Barcelona had come and played this game here,
it's a home game.
I guess Villarreal, it's a home game in Miami, where everybody's coming to watch Barcelona play. So you're indeed damaging and jeopardizing the integrity of the competition just by definition.
Alex, a couple questions for you. One, that phrase specifically, integrity of the competition. Ale mentions it. It's in the statement. It's the exact same phrasing that Thibaut Courtois used in effectively his complaint against this. I wonder what you make of that. And then also what the guys are saying here, and what you alluded to, this has been kind of like Tebas' pursuit, getting a game in the United States. Like, where does this leave him?
Yeah, it's been a long-term strategic objective of the league led by Tebas. They believe this is absolutely key to the growth of the league and to help them compete with the Premier League and other sports. And they'll keep trying to make this happen. But if it happens, I think what we've seen from this attempt is that there has to be, if not unanimity from everybody, because of course there's always going to be disagreement over plans like this, at least from the clubs that make up La Liga. You know, Thibaut Courtois, you mentioned, he talked about this. He said, look, people talk about the NBA and the NFL playing games overseas. The difference is, he said, in the NFL, the team owners have all agreed that this is the way forward. We will play NFL games overseas. In La Liga, there isn't that agreement among all of the clubs, and particularly, of course, you've got this opposition from Real Madrid. In terms of the integrity of the competition, that has been raised time and time again by the players who, yes, they have concerns about things like travel and fatigue and not being consulted. But a lot of them say, look, it strikes at the fundamental nature of a league competition about every team playing home and away. In terms of Tebas, look, he's of course got a lot of power, a lot of influence. He has helped under his tenure. La Liga has grown exponentially. It's a totally different organization from top to bottom from when he took over. But there's no doubt that, he's been very personally associated with this project. He's the figurehead of this project, and it not going ahead is a blow to his image in terms of being able to get stuff done and make things happen as well.